Hey guys, what's going on? Another week has gone by, which means it must be Tuesday, and I'm here in Bob's Video Vault with a couple of finds for this week. Not a whole heck of a lot, just like last week. Didn't have a lot. Don't have a lot of money to spend, so I'm kind of picking and choosing what I'm grabbing. A couple of VHS this week. Did pick up a Blu-ray and a DVD that I forgot to show off a couple of times over the last few weeks because it's something that I got in and I put it aside and I keep meaning to watch. I haven't even got around to watching it yet. But I'm going to start with that. Actually, this is a movie called Morris County, and this is a very independent movie. As you can well imagine, I'm in a lot of different Facebook groups, like most people, and most of my Facebook groups are movie related. Whether it's collecting, a lot of like Laserdisc collector, VHS collector groups, and I'm also in a lot of horror groups. And one of them, Beneath the Underground, is just full of independent horror. And basically all sorts of different facets of underground filmmakers. And right after I joined the group, they were releasing this movie, Morris County, as a bootleg edition, basically. This is a DVD-R. There is going to be a DVD version of it as well. But this is a movie that like I said, I haven't watched it yet, and I probably should have. But I did watch one of the guy and. You'll have to excuse me, the director's name is Garrett. I know Matthew Garrett. He made this movie, and I actually had checked out one of his short movies first that he had posted online that there was a link to, and I really loved, it was probably 10-15 minutes long, and I really loved the feel of it. It was violent, and it was just very dark, but very, very well made for a very low budget, indie film. And I read nothing but good reviews from people on this movie, Morris County. This movie is actually 3 short stories together that apparently all tie in into kind of into one storyline based on the characters, I would assume. And I'm probably, this is going to be the next review that I do when I finally get around to watching it. I've just been backed up with so many other things I haven't had a chance. But at any rate, I hear nothing but good things. And if you are a horror fan or you're a fan of underground movies in general, I'm going to put a link in the bottom. But go and join the Beneath the Underground. They're not only is it a Facebook group, by the way, they're also a small indie, releasing. They do have their own. They release this movie. They're releasing a couple of other movies, and they work with other companies who are releasing movies on, either DVD or VHS. Actually, a lot of VHS movies coming out nowadays. It's actually become a thing, especially with underground and horror movies for VHS films or movies to be released, new movies to be released on VHS. Is what I'm saying, especially horror movies and stuff like that. So, anyway, yeah, Morris County by Matt Garrett. You should definitely check that out. Next thing, I picked this up today while I was out and about, World War Z, which obviously has been out for quite a while now. I never did see this movie, but this is a brand new Blu-ray copy, and it was $2. So I really, I figured for that kind of price, I would pick it up and eventually give it a watch. This is both the unrated and the PG-13 rated version. I'm not taken in by the unrated thing. Like, a lot of people will only buy a movie if it's released on unrated, or they're more apt to buy a movie that was PG-13 or even R-rated because it's now unrated. I don't know if you guys know this or if people watching know this, but a movie that is unrated doesn't necessarily mean that there's more to the movie. Or that it's more violent or more swearing or anything like that. It doesn't necessarily mean that. The MPAA and the Classifications and Rating Administration, who actually rate these movies for companies, they watch a final edit or they watch an edit of the movie. It's not necessarily the final one, but the final one that they come to, that's the one they give the rating to, and that's the one that gets released. If any changes are made between then and the DVD release, it becomes unrated. So basically, you could have a movie that was PG in the theater, and you could edit in another shot of a fluffy bunny along the way, and that because that isn't the same movie that the MPA watched, you technically can't call that the PG movie. With World War Z, I can only assume that it's going to be more violent or, whatever the case may be. But there are some movies I've seen, for example, the movie Max Payne comes to mind with Mark Wahlberg. That was a few years ago. That movie that movie Max Payne, it was PG-13 theatrically, and the unrated version, the only difference, with the exception of a couple of swears that were thrown in, the only real difference was that when you shoot somebody, there's some light blood spray, like CGI blood spray, and to be honest, nothing. In reality, that probably wouldn't have still got a PG-13 regardless. So that's the only difference between the the PG-13 or the R-rated, or basically the rated version and an unrated version. So just because you see a movie that says unrated, that's not necessarily means that it's more violent or anything, or even more gory or whatever. You normally see it. Or you used to almost always see it only on horror movies, and now it's come to the point where it's also you're also seeing it on comedies and stuff like that. The version you didn't see in theaters, and that's that's accurate. It isn't the version you saw in theaters, but it doesn't necessarily make it any better either. And sometimes the version that is the rated version is actually better. One that comes to mind again, the movie Semi-Pro with Will Ferrell, which I'm not a Will Ferrell fan anyway, but the R-rated version of that movie actually had better jokes, more like succinct, funny jokes that built the scene along, as opposed to the unrated version where they just rambled on and probably were winging it, and it just it's not as good. So don't always be taken in by the unrated of a movie. So we're going to go right into the VHS now. I only picked up 3 this week. I'm going to start with the one that I have seen, which is Rear Window with James Stewart. This is an Alfred Hitchcock movie. It's one of my favorite Alfred Hitchcock movies. Basically, the premise of this is James Stewart is a guy who, he broke his legs, so he's kind of stuck at home, and he witnesses what he thinks is a murder in the building across from him. This movie's been remade at least once that I know of, Rear Window, and that was with Christopher Reeve right after he had, well, not directly after, but after, he had, broken his spine or his back there, and he was, paralyzed before he died. They remade it as a TV movie, which I didn't see. And then again, it was also kind of reimagined as the movie Disturbia with Shia LaBeouf, which I also enjoyed. I knew going into it that it was a Rear Window remake or rip-off or whatever you want to call it, but I enjoyed it as well. I mean, I don't care one way or the other about Shia LaBeouf and all of his crap that he's doing now with the like the Nymphomaniac movies and all that, like just horrible stuff. But when he was younger, the kid in teen movies like Holes and stuff, I was like, oh, he's pretty good. I didn't really watch his TV Fast Forward or whatever he was on Disney, but his later stuff, as he got a little older, was pretty good, and then now he's just doing, like, artsy-fartsy shit, so I don't know, I haven't seen it. But at any rate, Rear Window, this is one of my favorite Alfred Hitchcock movies. It's definitely a good suspense movie. It's not a horror movie, like, it's not like Psycho or anything like that. And if you haven't seen this movie, I don't know what rock you've been living under. It's only 50 years old by now, probably. Next movie that I picked up, and again, I'm in so many of those groups. Somebody the other day posted that they picked this movie up on Laserdisc, and I was like, well, I don't remember if I've ever seen that movie. And I happen to be out today, and I picked this up on VHS, but that is Single White Female. And this is Bridget Fonda and Jennifer Jason Leigh. And I don't think that I've ever seen this. If I did, it was years ago, and I really don't remember. But I do enjoy suspense and thrillers and stuff like that, and I supposedly this is pretty good. It's got decent reviews. I checked it out when I got home, and I was like, I wonder what the reviews are like, and it's pretty good. So, but basically, Bridget Fonda finds she's like a newly single woman, and she's looking for a roommate, and Jennifer Jason Leigh moves in, and basically kind of takes over her whole life. She's just a psychotic, and steals her boyfriend, and I watched the trailer. She basically steals a boyfriend, starts dressing like her. She becomes really like crazy, and I'm sure in the end it turns out to be a big showdown where Bridget Fonda probably kills her. I'm sure. And then the last movie that I picked up is a movie that I have never seen, and I've never even heard of this movie. It's one of the few Stallone movies I haven't seen. Even I've seen a lot of even his earlier movies, and that's the movie Nighthawks. And this is Sylvester Stallone and Rutger Hauer and Billy D. Williams, and like I said, I'd never heard of this one. I just picked it up, and I was like, well, yeah, I mean, it sounds like something I would enjoy. Basically, the synopsis is that Rutger Hauer is like a serial killer or terrorist. Yeah, I guess he's a terrorist, Stallone and Billy D. Williams are like brought in to catch him. And but yeah, I'm not sure, if this is any good or not. If anybody has seen it, let me know before I waste my time. I'll probably watch it anyway. I've seen so many Stallone movies. I watch all the new Stallone movies because, as you guys know, I love action movies. Especially the mindless action movies of late. The later Stallone movies like the Expendables and stuff. They're great for what they are. They're definitely a like I said, they're a mindless action movie. This one seems more like a psychological kind of thriller, but I'm sure it's an action movie as well. But I've never. I've seen a lot of the earlier ones, though. I saw, God, I've even seen Party at Kitty and Studs, which is like his porno movie that he made. Just because, why not? I watch a lot of movies, so we'll definitely check that out at some point. But that's pretty much it for this week, guys. Again, not a whole lot to add to the collection. I know I only had a few last week too. I do find myself wanting to do a little bit more with the reviews, and I just haven't had a chance to. So maybe those will start up again soon. If not, I'm also, like I said, I'm looking to do some written ones, and I might go into doing that on the Facebook as well as a Facebook note or whatever they call them. But I haven't even had the chance to do that. So at any rate, do the normal YouTube stuff, rate and subscribe. Don't forget to check me out on Facebook. It's Bob's Video Vault on there. I'm also at bobsvideovault.com, although that website is still kind of under construction and undergoing, so ignore that for the moment. If you could check that out. But at any rate, yeah, that's it for the week. So I will see you guys next Tuesday for the next update.